We watched The Last Duel. Welcome to Watch and Complain.
This was
watchingcomplain.com.
This was kind of a not a typo, but what do you call it? A correction.
A pun?
They called it less dull. When I put it in, I'm like,
Did you find it?
Or The Kingdom of Rape, which I enjoy.
yeah.
What?
It's The Kingdom of Rape.
You mean you tell me you enjoy it as like a title?
Yeah, that's
No,
This,
Phil enjoys
this
rape.
isn't some kind of
Phil
Jinx
enjoys-
Robert Durst
it's a
confession
loving
here.
title of a movie that I enjoyed.
I would say it is my favorite movie of the year.
I would say I can understand why people would very much appreciate it, and I did enjoy it, but it has some very obvious flaws for me that
Yeah.
I think that it had they
The script?
corrected though the script. One actor in particular that I'm pretty sure you two know who I'm going to be referring to, and the treating it as a stage play. There are parts of it that it is very obviously being treated to be a stage play, hence being able to hear all the ambient sound and no music. And I was like, this becomes distracting after like the second or third time they're doing that. Also, I want to point out that the
I didn't
skinniest
find that.
person of all of us keeps on eating the tidbits. You and me, the
He
two
needs
fat
it.
My
people.
no,
me, the two fat people were like, must avoid.
I got my first
Must
cavity
avoid.
this week, and I need a filling.
Yeah, because
He needs filling.
that's what's
We
going to
can
be the
get
one
this
thing
on
that...
Pornhub
No.
if we talk about him needing filling
Yeah.
and taking Bieber balls and throwing them in his fucking
Yeah,
face.
Bieber balls, which we've
I love
we've
Bieber
named.
balls.
I
smeared
said
all
this
over
in
my
the
face.
first episode, guys. You can post on Pornhub anything. It's the exact same as YouTube.
We
See,
can say this
you
stuff.
need to
Bill,
center
have
out
you
my
tried that?
audio where I'm just going.
Putting myself on YouPorn? No.
I put
No,
myself
it's not
on
YouPorn. It's Pornhub.
Oh,
There-
well,
But
two
there's a
different ones,
there's
yeah.
you porn. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is, but like.
But that's where people like.
But does it? Are we gonna get thrown off for not being sexy enough? Or
Excuse
is that
Not
just
with me.
unrealistic? It's unrealistic.
Have you seen my bald head? People love that stuff.
I thought you were gonna say, "Have you seen my balls?" And I was like, "Where's this conversation
Wow.
going?"
I guess
Wow.
I'd fit into like
Wow.
the shy nerd category.
No, I think you'd.
looks-wise.
But you'd fit
The
into
shy
like
nerd and
if
his
we were going
stepmom.
if we were going from the gay angle.
fucking hate step
If
porn.
we're going
I
from
hate
the
it so
gay
much.
angle, you'd be like the what are they called? The twinks. The
I don't
little-
even know. I hear that's a name that I hear a lot now. I don't know what it means.
They're like little, and this is
They're like little cake things from Hostess that you eat. You put in your mouth and you go,
Oh, you
Right.
put one in your mouth.
Cut to that scene in
pull the
Dickie
fucking-
Roberts.
Pull the fucking
Have you
cream
seen
out
that
of it.
scene
Creams
in
into your
Dickie
mouth.
Roberts
Yeah.
where he's going to which adoptive family he should go to, and he just goes to this really
How do I
weird
keep putting
rich
the cap on
person's
this?
place who is like. Actually, it's kind of haunting now because it echoes Harvey Weinstein. He talks to him in a bathrobe, and it's this big fat bald guy. He's like, "I don't have any children per se," and then he just takes
Not
a
that I know
Twinkie
about.
and then puts it in his mouth like really and eats it whole. And then David Spade's reaction is just
Oh, that's
like
why I never saw it. 'Cause it
haunting.
stars David Spade.
Yeah,
But,
he's okay. He's a supporting player.
Nah. Yeah, we were talking about what twinks are. So my understanding so I have a friend, Adrian. I keep on saying like I'm super proud to have one gay friend, but I'm sure I have more gay friends. Adrian's just the one that him and I talk a lot about shit.
Because they're terrified to come out to you.
He hates twinks. They just do nothing for him. But
I
they're
don't
all
even
like
know.
the
You
young,
didn't even
they're
explain
like
what
the,
it is.
The young, I'm saying David Dakota movies, but you wouldn't know what those are.
And
Like
my film degree does
young-
not help me here.
sexy 18 to 24-year-old guys who aren't like the big buff guys. They're kind of like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
small.
thank you.
That's
Okay,
what a twink
here we
is.
go. A twink is usually considered a homosexual male with attractive, boyish qualities, typically from the ages of 18 to 25, and
Oh,
often
shit, I was
thought
one
as a
fucking
young,
year off.
white, fashionable male. So it's a compliment.
And why does it
Fair.
have to be white though?
Maybe the-
Because
but
then it
maybe
would
the
be
black
like a
males-
ho-ho, or what are the... What
Yeah,
are the
maybe the black dudes have like a different name. A ho-ho. What the fuck is that?
the cakes.
The little Daisy
It
Duke
means, it means like King Dons.
Yeah.
The King Dongs.
I think-
That's
I
what
think-
the black guys are called. The King Dongs.
I think in the U.S.
you
there's
are-
ho-hos or something.
This
so
is
yeah, the
definitely
twinks,
has to be
the
posted
King
on Pornhub
Dongs,
now.
and the ho-hos.
That one has to go on TikTok.
You know, we can just put the green screen. You can put anything in
Yeah,
the back
put like
there.
all sorts of gay celebrities behind us. Or
I'm just gonna
find-
put Hostess cakes the whole time.
You know what? Put
and
like
Tim
little
Biebs.
Debbie. Put little Debbie on the face of all these guys that are dancing and gyrating.
The little Debbie does King Don.
If Tim Hortons contacts us for a sponsorship, I'm gonna say no
Not
because
going to anymore.
fuck Tim Hortons. I did
You know
it.
what's going to come after?
We're eating their
the,
Timbits,
The
so we
LGBTQ. They're going to. How dare you call black gay men
It's
ho-hos?
not Chick-fil-A.
You ever wonder, like,
Chick-fil-A was known for
being super
taking a
racist.
stance
Racism.
on against. I thought it was against homosexuality.
It-
Maybe
Shit.
that was Salvation
Okay.
Army.
I'm going to bring this up about
I don't
Last
think
Duel.
it was. Yeah.
I think
In
it
the
was.
start of Last Duel, both me and Leslie heard it, so I know it wasn't just me. When they're
Oh,
when
a movie, okay.
the two riders are getting set up to go against each other. Also, I did not like the. It literally felt like as soon as those fucking two duelers smashed their what the fuck is it
Joust?
called? Joust. Smashed a joust on each other's shield. I felt like record scratch. You may be wondering what I'm doing here. That's what it felt like it wanted to fucking do, and then go back and
I
start
mean, trying
I've
to
seen
capture
that-
your
I've-
attention.
I've seen that.
I just didn't like it.
countless
I wish they'd started from the start of the story, but you can hear
People
it.
would have gotten bored.
You can hear the Game of Thrones theme. You can hear very slowly on the piano, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Maybe it was
you
an
can
Easter
hear that
egg.
exactly.
It's definitely a reason
And I
that
was like,
this
come
movie
on,
was
It's an
able
Easter
to be
egg.
greenlit because of Game of Thrones.
it felt like, guys, this is too on the nose. You can't do
I
that.
didn't notice
I
it.
only noticed it in the start.
There was no dragons.
But you did hear, because I look over at Leslie, I'm like, you heard that, right? She goes, yeah, I fucking heard that.
The score was pretty decent though.
When it was
overall.
there, that was
Yeah.
the problem. When it was there.
I think they just wanted to amplify the acting. They just wanted to they didn't want anything to take away from that.
So did you have any notes on it?
I only have, aside from going from my brain, my only note was that I loved the period stuff, like
Yep.
all the seeing how they lived, seeing
That's really
the
Ridley
outfits,
Scott's
and
he's
good at that.
He's so good at that, man. But I have the story, and I understand this is what it's going to is a lot of what this movie is going to be about is people referring to something that happened off screen in regards to another character. So the examples that I have are when he's going to see that his father died, his mother explains that he's not going to get the land because he sued the king. You see those again later on. You know what I mean? Like you see him suing the king, making the decision with his wife. But I didn't like how they were kind of showing the story out of order. God damn it, get your head out of my way.
I was
sorry.
A little like I didn't
keep on leaning
I
forward.
didn't figure
just-
out right away because I'm slow.
I have no notes for this movie.
I liked it in hindsight, but as they were doing it, I'm like,
well, that's the problem with
but then the
movie
movie
is
would
that-
be 1,000 hours long.
But there's no way that they can tell it that
Yep,
where
yep,
there's
yep.
not
And
holes
keep
in
it
the
interesting.
story.
I couldn't figure out right away like that it was like this is this person's point of view.
Even though it says
took
it
me
in
a-
the title
I know,
card.
But
that
it
this
doesn't
is-
say that this is the
it's their truth.
raper, rapey, and rape.
I
But
said
like,
I
there's
ignored
two
the
guys,
title card.
There's two guys. There's two guys. So you were ignorant.
Yeah,
You're
because I
ignorant.
was just like, oh, it's just a chapter type thing, man.
Where do the ho-hos
But then-
show up?
I don't need to
my
read.
wife, my wife clued me in, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Thank
'cause-
God you were
She
watching
paused
the
it and she was like, Phil, sound it out.
yeah, pretty much.
It reminded me of, with all the shit that we see on CNN and trials and stuff, it reminded me of like
Christine Blasey Ford.
what a
Brett
trial.
Kavanaugh. Yeah.
What a CNN trial would look like back in the late 1300s. Because they've got, oh yeah, and then this happened, blah, 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 blah.
And
Like,
how
you guys think-
close-minded it is compared to
And-
now.
Oh, I've
my
got
And they
that.
cut
Don't
out.
worry.
They cut out a lot of stuff from like the actual because this was actually a major historical account that in real life had like 5-10 different like there. It was
and again,
insanely good.
I
record.
didn't know that. So I was
They-
like, oh, this is interesting. And then they did the best they could, but they like really concised it. Like they really cut a
Yeah.
lot of shit out to
They-
make it a clearer
There was
story.
a part in the book I heard about where somebody rode their horse from point A to point B to test to see if he could have been there. But his lawyer, Jacques Legris, Adam Driver's lawyer in real life, was pretty much like, yeah, he guilty. Like the whole time.
See, it's cool. Like it's like a real fucking trial,
he kept,
right?
Yeah, he kept. I have to say, this is the first movie I have seen where the pointedness of it, like trying to be something talking about today, did not. That kind of dialogue
Yeah.
didn't get in the way. Like,
Absolutely.
like to me. The priest saying it's science, like it's out of Anchorman.
Yeah.
I saw that as a laugh and thought that was done on purpose to get a laugh to illustrate
No,
the
I didn't
point.
think so.
I didn't think that it like drew too much attention to itself. Like when I watched
I
Eight Big
found-
Christmas and they make a reference to something that technically existed at the time, but they dropped a reference like, okay, Frodo, you know, like an Adam Sandler movie of yore. Like there was none of that where it's like anachronism.
I forgot something. We're not talking about Ready Player 2, which nobody ever fucking please never
We're
read.
not going to cover that.
But one thing I thought would annoy me that really didn't is you could hear the attempt at accents,
Mm-hmm.
but then they're like, okay, forget it. Now, it's not as bad as Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where he's British and then he's not, and then he's British again and then he's not. There's an attempt, but then they're like,
Did you hear?
forget
Did you hear Ridley Scott's like comment on like
No.
not using French accents? Like everything Ridley Scott says, like in public at interviews these days.
he's like
'cause
a
it's
crotchety old
cringy.
man now.
doesn't give it. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. His like constant like not giving a fuck. It's like because it's
He's like what Robert Altman should have been, but
But
Yeah.
is he
because Robert
doing
Altman sucks.
his
In terms of
movies movie a favor in this case? Like,
Yes, because-
it's coming off as cringy to the public.
I don't think so. I find
Yeah.
it. A lot of people on my Twitter space are finding it like hilarious. So-
Twitterverse, Phil.
Yeah, yeah.
part of Spider-Man.
Because here's the thing: his movie bombed. Like this movie didn't make any money at the
Which
box
is
office.
unfortunate,
It bombed. Yeah. And it's one of the best movies of the year because like adults didn't want to go out and see it, or as Ridley Scott calls them, millennials,
It just
which
gets-
is technically
He's
true
starting to sound like Martin Scorsese.
because millennials are like 25 to 40. But the funny
Do you
thing.
know why, Phil? Because the theater experience is dead.
No, I think
That's-
they
it's
didn't.
that and old people are more at risk for COVID, and that's it.
They didn't do the whole Marvel attack with trailers and going
Also,
on
this is
BuzzFeed
not
and
an
all this
action
stuff.
movie at all. You know, and that might be
Yeah.
another thing.
That's not the point.
But I think a lot of people might have expected a little bit of build up to this
action.
last duel.
Yeah.
But it's not that. That's not at all
But
what
it
it's
still
about.
kept you interested, which I.
Oh, it
found
absolutely did. But I mean, I wonder if a lot of people thought that, not that it's going to be an action movie, clearly it's not, but they thought, like, when you look at the poster for Kingdom of Heaven,
Yeah.
you have this ideology that, oh, Kingdom of Heaven's about a war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you see that in the movie. This, it's about the last duel. And you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be the last duel. It's all coming up to this. It's all building up to this. Like, they're all fucking getting their...
They basically saw, and let me just say, to my old point, what Ridley Scott said was, yeah, it takes place in medieval France. I didn't have them do French accent. That would have been fucking terrible. Would have been a friggin' disaster.
And I
didn't
told
do it.
100%
And then
agree.
he said, and then he literally says, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the movie.
And that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, good. I'm glad they're not doing it.
I thought it-
my one biggest complaint about the movie, the biggest, and my other complaint, and they're small complaints, but they're side by side. Ben Affleck is a bad actor, dude.
I thought
Between
he
the
was
two
real-
of them, Matt Damon is spectacularly. He's not amazing. He's not Oscar
no, I
caliber,
thought-
but he's very good.
I thought
Ben Affleck sucks.
Neither of them were very good.
I have to say,
Matt Damon blew
Matt Damon
Ben
was
Affleck
okay.
away.
to me.
splitting the difference between you two, I thought, and I didn't even think about it until
Adam Driver was
after the
best.
movie.
Adam Driver was good.
Yeah, I didn't even.
But
thi-
he's
yeah.
carried
But
the fucking Star Wars
What was the
franchise.
actress?
He carries
Jodie
franchises.
Comer was
She
good.
was,
She was
amazing,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same age as me, so Jodie.
But
if
you would
you're
have
looking
to have
for
an
somebody.
amazing.
Oh, see, he's not gay. He's not a twink.
You would have to have an amazing actress like that to carry this Me
I
Too
love
type
talent.
situation.
But with Ben Affleck, he's got an air of bro douchiness all
Which is
the
perfect
time.
for this character, though.
It is, but for me, I found it really distracting. I'm
It
like,
could have
God
been
damn it.
anybody else.
But I think
Yeah,
but
that's a good point. It
he
could have been
brings-
anybody else.
He brings comedy though to a movie that desperately needs it, and considering that chapter is what he wrote. The script for the movie,
Yeah.
it kind of needs him as a point of view, and it needs to add some kind of levity
See,
to
I
the story of
didn't
how
need-
snooty and dumb these
I
people
didn't
Yeah,
are.
but
any
any
levity
actor
to
could
these
have done
guys.
that snooty whatever.
But see,
It's
I
just-
Could they
found
have
the,
though?
Yeah.
Like
I found
who?
the levity.
it was a
Name
it's
somebody.
not
Adam
I
Sandler.
can't say
No.
small part,
did you
but
think?
like it's a small enough part that like they could get anyone to do it, and his star
But
power
name
did
somebody.
who
Name somebody.
no, because that's not the point.
No,
Dwayne The
your
Rock
point
Johnson.
is that anybody could have done this, and I'm asking you to name
Any
anybody.
like character actor, anything like that.
name anybody.
Oh my god,
Carlos de Luna. Or no, Diego Luna, sorry.
I don't
Diego Luna.
care.
That's what
But
I mean.
John
if you're
Cena.
gonna
Kind
make-
of similar to
Phil, if
Like,
you're
if-
gonna make
if
points,
you're
you
just
gotta
gonna-
make a point.
No,
But-
my point is any actor
Anybody,
could
yeah.
come in and do that part. It wasn't important.
You know what? I find it was an important role, but Ben Affleck, to me, made it distracting because he's not a good actor and he's always got that air of douchiness. He's
Yeah.
always doing that, and I'm like,
The sideways
and I didn't
smirk.
want the
The
levity
sideways
in that
smirk.
role at all. I just wanted a very
You wanted downer
serious
movie, like
I'm all right with downer movies, but that role, I wish whenever he was in whenever he was in the shot that I wasn't paying attention to. God, that guy irritates me. I wish I was paying attention more. Every time Adam Driver was on the screen, again, man, he's like fucking Father Paul at Midnight Mass. He is electrifying the screen. He's so good.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. My mom doesn't like him, and she's like, but he was good in the role.
But
I thought
he
the
does
best
look
amount of
like a fucking hairless cat.
I thought the best amount of acting that they did
He
was
does.
convincing.
Tell me he doesn't.
He's
I know
handsome.
he has his.
He is
fans.
not handsome.
He has his fans, but he's a unique-looking man. I thought the best amount of acting anybody did was portray a world where everybody universally thinks that
He is
he's handsome.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
But-
I sort
but
of
funny,
see him
but
as the
if you-
Steed
if
because he
you-
has a horse face.
If you had sex with Adam Driver, would you
Compared to like Matt Damon.
would you get to the end? Would you be happy at the end? At the
You
end?
see my
That's the whole
rise
plot of the movie, and the
Skywalker.
answer is no.
If not, you wouldn't be pregnant.
Hey, I've got a note on that, so shut up. The moral. Look at this. The moral of the. So I do have that. Chapter 2 should be called a chapter of longing looks from everybody. Because how many scenes did you see of people just like Matt Damon and Adam Driver? Like, I don't like.
Oh
you.
yeah, I wanted to finish my thought on Matt Damon before we got sidetracked by Ben Affleck.
damn
I
it.
was thinking about this after the movie, and I'm like, Matt Damon didn't like disappear into the role, but he's not a distraction. I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, this guy's played Private Ryan, The Martian, he's played Jason Bourne, he's played a number of movies, and yet when I watch him, I'm not immediately thinking that's Matt Damon.
Yeah,
The same you
he's-
think when you
he's
see
an
Ben Affleck.
everyman. He's a
That's
very
like
good
a very
everyman.
underrated point because I thought of like following the last movie he did, Stillwater, which was if you guys have seen that, it's interesting but like bad.
Oil burns.
But him playing a character who is like not likable is like a really good mode for him to be in because you feel sympathy for him, and even though he's like completely in the right, he's still like an asshole. And when he rapes his wife, pretty much, like and
about
stuff like that. It's
wife
kind of-
rapist.
It made me wonder.
Did he rape his wife?
No,
Yes,
we're talking about a
yes,
different
he
movie.
did.
In what,
Oh, you're talking about this
when?
movie. I thought you were talking about Blackwater or Stillwater.
No.
In what
See,
part
I
of the
should-
what part of the movie did he rape his
After
wife?
he finds out
Yeah.
that Adam Driver
He
raped her,
hate fucks her.
he's like, I'm
Remember,
not gonna
I'm going to be the
have
last
him,
man
and
you ever
know.
knew. I won't let him be the last
Yeah,
man
but
you ever
that's
knew.
not. That's she
He's not
went with
taking
it.
his- But
She
he's not
doesn't
taking
wa-
her feelings into any sort of
Okay,
consideration.
not taking-
yes,
her feelings
but
serious.
but you have to stand up for yourself. You have to say no.
By hate fucking your wife because you
whole
hate the
point-
guy that just
But
fucked her?
hate fucking your wife is not rape.
It kind
Actually,
of is,
It's
Phil.
not.
I have to
Oh,
say,
I
If you're like,
disagree. It
so
absolutely
just
there's
like,
actually, I have a
have
lot to
sex
bring
with
up
me.
on this.
I
that
want to
actually
do
plays
this
in.
because of this.
So
And
you're
she's
saying-
like, okay.
But
your
Phil-
wife. So your wife was, let's say, emotionally crushed by something that happened to her at work.
She was just raped.
At work, but let's say like your
shouldn't
wife,
laugh about
something
that, but-
terrible happened to your wife, whatever it is. Not we'll say not rape for right now.
I'm not saying it's right.
But you come home and you're like, God damn, that Rob and Will, they pissed me off. Motherfuckers never give me a chance to speak. And then she gets home. She's like, oh, Phil, I've had a hard day. You're like, shut up, bitch. I need to hate fuck something. She doesn't want to. And just because you
no,
want
she
to.
hasn't said. She's just like,
She protests.
Okay.
She protests. She's like, no. And you fuck her anyway. That's rape. Even if it's your own wife, that's rape. You're not supposed to do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I am kind of saying you shouldn't. But I am. That's kind of raping.
I think there was a gray area there. So
No, I
Phil
don't think so.
in the 90s. And this
I don't think
happened
it's
with-
right. I just
the-
don't think it's legally rape.
We won't be-
marital rape wasn't actually technically a law in the books,
It
at
certainly
least in
wasn't
the
back in
state of
these
New
days.
York until the 90s. I know this because I believe it was I'm not sure if it was Marla Maples or who was Donald Trump's second wife or his first wife.
Thank
Ilana?
God for Donald Trump.
What's
is
Donald
the truth.
Trump's first wife's name? Anybody?
Not a clue.
Ivana. Ivana.
yeah.
Ivana Trump. Anyway, she had he had like a hair thing, and he got hair implants, and the doctor gave him a hair scar, which is why his hair is like that. And it gave
doctor
him
knew well.
and it damaged his scalp, and he was so pissed that
Oh,
he
that's right.
raped her. And she wrote about this in the book, and she went and took him to court, but she had no case because technically in the 90s there was no such thing as marital rape or marital rape.
yeah.
And then it's since like become a law, at least in the U.S. I'm sure like there's sexual assault is always whatever. But my point is that like yes, it didn't exist then, but the whole movie is about how she doesn't really have a place as a woman. She only exists in the eyes of men. So her protesting, like we inherently understand it, but it doesn't mean anything. So her saying no, I don't, isn't like it's not taken into account by him. It doesn't mean that he regards her feelings at all.
Did you?
My opinion.
Did you notice that there was a significant lack of music in a lot of
Yes.
this movie?
That's
Yes.
what he was
That-
saying earlier.
yeah,
That
that
seems
really-
trendy.
It does, but
I
it's,
was
for
fine
me,
with it.
it totally took me out of certain parts,
Yeah.
especially the ending, or when Adam Driver was coming to rape his Matt Damon's wife. A small kind of, almost like Bernard Herrmann-esque kind of.
Like
Just
it
soft,
hits a hammer.
small,
It
yeah,
hits
like
a hammer on the score a lot
yeah,
of the time.
and it's not there.
It's
and
not a
that
subtle
made me feel
score.
like I'm watching a stage play.
But they decided, to me, it's like a conscious effort of like, somebody described this as like a Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Harvey Weinstein makeup movie of like they're doing this because of their association with
Yeah.
Weinstein to try and like wipe the
That-
slate clean. And it's like them understanding that like they can only do and write from a certain point of view. They get a woman to write the woman's point of view, Nicole Olive Center, and like the first Matt Damon writes the Matt Damon part, Ben Affleck writes the Ben Affleck and Adam Driver part, and the woman writes the woman's part.
I tried to keep that
That's a
out
weird
of
way
it.
to do it.
Each are. Did you know that each segment is exactly 42 minutes long?
Oh no, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
But the other
I
thing
thought
I'll
it was a
mention-
little long altogether.
How about the duel?
See,
though?
I
Can we
I didn't think that. That's one thing I thought I would feel because I put it
I
up.
thought
you
it
know,
would.
Plex has it
Oh,
up.
2.5
2.5
hours.
fucking hours.
Again,
No, it didn't
every
really feel
movie's
its
doing-
length.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie. I just thought it could have been brought down like
What do
half
you guys
an hour.
think about the duel, though? Like
I enjoyed it.
I was
Really
not
enjoyed
on
it,
the
man.
edge of your seat
Yeah.
the entire time.
And
I was
again,
like,
it really shows
you never
and
knew
it's-
what was gonna happen.
But it's
Yeah.
funny, you know. A lot of people talk
unless you
about
researched it ahead of time.
yeah, which I
about
didn't.
and I always forget his name. The guy who directed Mad Max, George
Miller.
George Miller. When I saw these commercials coming up from legendary director George Miller, blah blah blah, when they were printing out Mad Max Fury Road, I was like, man, that's fucking kind of a douche thing to do. And then you watch, you're like, oh, that's right. This
Yeah.
guy is 77 and he is crushing actors a third of his age with making action movies.
Yeah.
And when you watch this
Directors.
movie, director, sorry. And then when you watch Ridley Scott make this, you're like, this is why Ridley
Like, it's
Scott's
a
such a good director.
yeah.
He's very good at directing this type of scene.
I thought this was like if you were to put like 1970s, he did Alien. 1980s, he did Blade Runner. 1990s, he did Thelma and Louise. 2000s, he did Gladiator. 2010s, he did The Martians. This is his like 2020 movie.
Yeah.
There's a couple of like I personally like American Gangster, and you know,
fine.
there's a couple of other movies he did in there, like people like Black Hawk Down. I'm not crazy
No.
about
I
it.
like Black Hawk.
I do
Down,
not like
yeah.
Black Hawk
Yeah,
Down.
yeah, but he's
watched
done
it
all-
like
Speaking
4
of
times,
downer
so-
movies, Black Hawk Down is a fucking downer movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it was really well done. So
Yeah.
It,
Where are
it
the
was well
planes
done, but
from?
I just look at see while he's eating, that's when I get my points in. Again, being a Ridley Scott movie, very dark. All of his movies are very dark, but that's fine. It didn't take away from it. It was
Yeah,
especially
very
when it,
dark and humorless.
yeah,
actually.
when it came across like it feels like they're attacking at dusk or they're attacking at dawn. A lot of times, that's why it's always fucking dark. But the last thing I'll say is, and the moral of the story is that Jack's wife hopes that she gets fucked like a horse because she never comes.
Who's
the moral of
Jack's wife?
Jacques.
Oh,
Matt
Jacques
Damon.
will agree.
So I said Jacques when I was doing text to speech and it caught it as Jack. The moral of this movie is for men is make sure your wife comes when you have sex with her.
well, she has to be happy at the end. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Or she can't get
insensitive.
pregnant. But I did like that. Make sure she comes at the end, or she won't get pregnant. This is science. We understand it. I thought that was not funny, but it was done just. I feel like that would have been a scene that they did maybe 10 takes of to get the right fucking tone of
It
that
was
guy
by
saying
10
it.
cameras because that's how Ridley Scott shoots.
Right?
Did
But
you reach the end? Yeah.
But it felt like if
it's like okay.
it's one of those, and I love these types of lines where they're on kind of a razor's edge of if we go even just a hair's width to comedy, people will see it as funny. If we go a
Yeah.
hair's width to
It
Me
would
Too
means a
movement,
lot of a
yeah,
difference.
it'll be too. Oh God, this is stupid.
Hey, Karen.
and like no, that's Leslie.
Oh,
Like Leslie knows she never comes because I don't let her. I
Yeah.
tell her to get the fuck out. But
I did that. I did that in the park.
one time, him and his
Oh.
wife,
When I
him and his
came-
wife were drying, and he's like,
was
hey
real
Leslie, I'm like,
bad.
no, that's Karen. Leslie's the other one, and they were like, what? I'm like, it's a long story. We'll discuss it another
We
day.
stopped in the car and I said it, and she's
I
like,
can only imagine
no,
when-
no, and I'm like, oh,
I can only imagine what that
In the-
conversation
in-
home was like.
on the
Just
way,
kinda robbed a
on the way
polygamist.
over, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I've seen this family and I've been over here enough times that I should know like somebody's name. I'm like, even if I'm guessing, and then that's the
Hello,
one time and I get it wrong.
bruh.
I'm like, it better either be Karen or Dexter walking down those
Just
stairs.
call them. What do they call them in Handmaid's Tales?
Off.
Yeah, just call them off price.
Yeah.
Oh my
Or no,
God.
up price. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Up price 1 and
All
up
right,
price
so
2.
out of 10. We
wait.
have to wrap
I
it
have-
up. So, yeah, do your point.
Okay.
Where are your fucking points?
In regards to
I-
the
I'm just
intelligence, what do you think
bouncing off you
the
guys.
raping of the horse? Because Adam Driver's horse also rapes Matt Damon's horse. Does that mean
Yeah.
that because he's mad?
that
not
felt
even
a little on the nose. That part. It was
I
good.
didn't
very
notice
well.
it. Yeah,
But
I
it
didn't-
felt a little on the nose.
But it's like I think that like because him saying that he's mad, not that it happened, but that like it devalues his property.
Yep,
And
exactly.
that he would rather have it locked up all day.
And not to mention, no one stops it. Like he's like smacking the fucking horse,
yeah.
and everyone's just effectively letting it happen.
What do you think of Matt Damon's
Because they
character?
know they can't do much.
I thought the character, and it's hard. It's one of those movies where who do you, as a protagonist, who do you kind of
who are
side with?
Who were you rooting for in the battle?
Yeah.
Matt Damon, I would say. I
Yeah,
mean,
I was rooting
everybody's
for Matt Damon.
but not for the reasons that would be typical to it. Like the fact that the movie manages to, it's like I'm rooting for Matt Damon to win, even though I don't like him
As a person,
for
yep.
her sake.
Absolutely.
And-
And then at the end, everyone's cheering for him as he's leaving, and it's just like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's just
It-
like,
it-
yeah.
But you know what though? That really shows you how talented Ridley Scott is as a filmmaker, because he gets all these emotions going on in your head, and it's not just this simple, oh, good guy win, me clap. You know what I mean? Like you've got these fucking conflicting emotions going on in your head, and that's what. This is where, and this again, we were talking about this just before we started recording. British people treat this as an art. You know what I mean? It's treated as a real art, and this was a very respectfully and artistically done movie, and that's what that's the part. There were parts of it that I was like, I could have done without. Absolutely, Ben Affleck shouldn't have been in this movie. It needed a bit more music, but outside of those two things, I was very impressed by it. Ridley Scott definitely for a guy his age, and when I think of guys
One
like
of
Robert
his
Altman,
best, I
yep,
think.
absolutely.
What's has there been any other movies that have done that approach where it's like
Rashomon.
one person's
You think?
thing and then it goes back and
Yeah,
you
it's
see-
called-
Oh, the
It started-
jumping around?
Yeah, it started with the movie Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa
Yeah,
in
really?
1950. Yeah, and then I saw it on a bunch of Disney episodes growing up of like Disney Channel shows of like they play the point of view. The Simpsons also did it, of course.
I haven't seen Rashomon in forever, so I don't
I
remember.
I tried watching it, was too boring for me. But like the fact that that breaks
Blasphemy.
the idea of like many people seeing things from different angles and
I've
different.
I've wanted like a TV series to do that where each episode is a different point of view that makes you be able to put the puzzle
I feel
together.
Steven Soderbergh did
feel like
that
we've done
with
that
a movie
Traffic.
called
Yeah.
Mosaic, which I
You could
I
argue
watched
he,
the first
he did it with
episode.
parts of Traffic, which I didn't like.
Yeah, I
But
did
no,
not like Traffic at all.
neither
I
did
saw
I.
it for the first time.
So
watching.
out of 10, what would you rate this film?
I'd have to give it an 8.8. I'd say it's one of the best of the year.
I'd
One
go-
of the best that Scott has done.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite of the year so far that I've seen.
I would go with an 8.
Yeah, probably the
I
same.
like it.
An 8. Definitely one of the better movies I've seen this year. Not the best for me, and I know you guys hate it. The best I've seen this year is definitely Dune. I was blown away by Dune. Really liked it. But for Ridley Scott, yeah, I'm glad to see him back in an arena making movies where I'm like, God damn, you watch
It
movies and
feels
you,
like a real movie.
yeah, you forget that this guy can be this good.
This
you know what I
this
mean?
movie would have been good in the theater under the right circumstances.
Yeah. It's just I was deathly afraid.
I'm worried about the Spider-Man thing coming up.
No, I have no. Honestly, I have no worries about Spider-Man. I
Oh,
think,
not about Spider-Man. I'm talking about the experience.
I think even with, I think the Omicron variant and with Kingdom, our numbers going out of control. I don't think that's going to play a factor at all. I think people are still going to fucking
it's
go
gonna
in droves
Yeah,
to
it's
Spider-Man.
gonna. There was some news thing where the
$250
people
million
people
possibly.
were fighting over tickets.
I
somewhere,
wouldn't be
Which is
surprised.
ridiculous because it's I have to say, based on Marvel's batting average, and we can cut this part out because it's not about Last Duel, but
Cut it out, Leslie.
yeah.
We're not
Fuck
cutting
you.
it out because we haven't outroed yet. Let's outro and then you talk.
God damn it. See, there's the other way.
So thank you
Watch
for
and complain. Hey, Karen.
watching.
Fuck off, Karen.
Hi.
We're trying to concentrate. Get the fuck out.
We just have to cancel him. That's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna get canceled from both of you guys before we even get famous. That's the clear thing. I still am keeping the dream.
We're never getting famous. We're always
You
going to
keep
be in
the dream,
Rob's
Karen.
basement.
We can get famous in my basement. Fuck off, Karen. We can get famous in my basement. We just have to do different types of
We
videos.
have to do porn
That's what this green screen is.
with the twink and
Just have a little hamster running around. Where's the hamster
and
today?
that was Watch and Complain.
I didn't get to my. Oh no, I did. It's at 8.
Watchingcomplain.com.
Filmgamer.com.
Rape
Something about rape.
forbeginners.com.
Whatever.
Something about rape.com.
This is a great video
What
for
was
that.
your pod? Ever 4 Guys and Rob?
4 guys who gangbang Rob.
Yeah, that's on another
Pornhub.
site.
Spotify? Definitely. Probably.
Bye, everybody. I thought that was. Oh, that was the audio
there,
too.
and the
32
camera's
minutes
there,
is
but
good.
not there. So
Something about rape.com. That was good.